To learn, said the master, and then to practice opportunely what one has learnt. Does not this bring with it a sense of satisfaction? To have associates in study coming to one from distant parts, does not this also mean pleasure in store? And are not those who, while not comprehending all that is said, still remain not unpleased to hear, men of the superior order? Footnote 1. The word learning, Professor Legge well remarks, rightly occupies the forefront in the studies of a nation of which its educational system has so long been the distinction and glory. This opening paragraph looks as if it were part of an address of welcome to his pupils. A saying of the scholar you. It is rarely the case that those who act the part of true men in regard to their duty to parents and elder brothers are at the same time willing to turn currishly upon their superiors. It has never yet been the case that such as desire not to commit that offense have been men willing to promote anarchy or disorder. Men of superior mind busy themselves first in getting at the root of things. And when they have succeeded in this, the right course is open to them. Well, are not filial piety and friendly subordination among brothers a root of that right feeling which is owing generally from man to man? Footnote 2. A disciple, now himself become a master. He and Sang, paragraph 4 are the only ones distinguished by this title of scholar. Philosopher, I think too grand a word. The master observed, rarely do we meet with the right feeling due from one man to another, where there is fine speech and studied mien. Footnote. That right feeling which is owing generally from man to man. In these words I give the fullest meaning I can of the term, jinn, which will frequently occur in this book. We have no exact English equivalent for it. It is the virtue of humanitas, the right feeling of man to his kind. The composition of the character man, and to indicate this to some extent. It is not always possible render the term by the same words. Sometimes philanthropy, in its deepest sense, sometimes social good feeling, will express its meaning. The scholar Sang once said of himself, on 3 points I examine myself daily, viz. Whether, in looking after other people's interests, I have not been acting wholeheartedly, whether, in my intercourse with friends, I have not been true, and whether, after teaching, I have not myself been practicing what I have taught. The master once observed that, to rule well one of the larger states meant strict attention to its affairs and conscientiousness on the part of the ruler, careful husbanding of its resources, with at the same time a tender care for the interests of all classes, and the employing of the masses in the public service at suitable seasons. Footnote. Literally, a state of 1,000 chariots, that is, capable of turning out that number in wartime. Let young people, said he, show filial piety at home, respectfulness towards their elders when away from home. Let them be circumspect, be truthful, their love going out freely towards all, cultivating goodwill to men. And if in such a walk there be time or energy left for other things, let them employ it in the acquisition of literary or artistic accomplishments. The disciple Tzu here said, the appreciation of worth in men of worth, thus diverting the mind from lascivious desires. Ministering to parents, while one is the most capable of so doing, serving one's ruler, when one is able to devote himself entirely to that object. being sincere in one's language and intercourse with friends. This I certainly must call evidence of learning, though others may say there has been no learning. Sayings of the Master. 1. If the great man be not grave, he will not be revered, neither can his learning be solid. 2. Give prominent place to loyalty and sincerity. 3. Have no associates in study who are not advanced somewhat like yourself. 4. When you have erred, be not afraid to correct yourself. A saying of the scholar sang, "The virtue of the people is renewed and enriched when attention is seen to be paid to the departed, and the remembrance of distant ancestors kept and cherished." Zikin put this query to his fellow disciple Zikung. Said he, "When our master comes to this or that state, he learns without fail how it is being governed. Does he investigate matters, or are the facts given him?" Zikung answered, "Our master is a man of pleasant manners and of probity, courteous, moderate, and unassuming. It is by his being such that he arrives at the facts. Is not his way of arriving at things different from that of others?" A saying of the Master. He who, after 3 years' observation, of the will of his father when alive, or of his past conduct if dead, does not deviate from that father's ways, is entitled to be called a dutiful son. Sayings of the scholar. For the practice of the rules of propriety, one excellent way is to be natural. This naturalness became a great grace in the practice of kings of former times. Let everyone, small or great, follow their example. It is not, however, always practicable, and it is not so in the case of a person who does things naturally, knowing that he should act so, and yet who neglects to regulate his acts according to the rules. Footnote 1. An important part of a Chinaman's education still. The textbook, the Li Qi, contains rules for behavior and propriety for the whole life, from the cradle to the grave. When truth and right are hand in hand, a statement will bear repetition. When respectfulness and propriety go hand in hand, disgrace and shame are kept afar off. Remove all occasion for alienating those to whom you are bound by close ties, and you have them still to resort to. A saying of the Master. The man of greater mind who, when he is eating, craves not to eat to the full. Who has a home, but craves not for comforts in it. Who is active and earnest in his work, and careful in his words. Who makes towards men of high principle, and so maintains his own rectitude, that a man may be styled a devoted student. Zikung asked, "What say you, sir, of the poor who do not cringe and fawn? And what of the rich who are without pride and haughtiness?" "They are passable," the Master replied. "Yet they are scarcely in the same category as the poor who are happy, and the rich who love propriety." In the Book of the Odes, Zikung went on to say, we read of one, polished as by the knife and file, the graving tool, the smoothing stone. Does that coincide with your remark, or? "Such as you," replied the Master, "may well commence a discussion on the Odes. If one tell you how a thing goes, you know what ought to come." Footnote. That is, a subject is started, you are ready with an apt quotation. "It does not greatly concern me," said the Master, "that men do not know me. My great concern is my not knowing them."